Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Forget We Said That. My name is Relytan,
I'm Alyssa Riot.
And I'm Legion Lion.
and today we've got a treat for you all. Our very beloved Alyssa just got out of prison. Can you tell us all about it?
Yeah. I have a friend in my social work program at school that gets these emails for these paid internships, and they all have to do with the criminal justice system. So you could go into a juvenile detention center and do like gardening and things like that, and art programs. And she sent me this one that was for the women's prison out here, and it was a brand new art project that these people in Petaluma put together. It's called Life on Art, and basically they have these big winged hearts that they take to prisons and institutions all over the place, and the inmates paint them, and then later they would put it at an art installation. And so I emailed them immediately when I was like, let me do this. So the owner called me back and talked to me about like why I was interested and stuff like that. I told her what I was going to school for, and she was like, cool, you're on. We'll see you in a couple weeks. I was like, all right. So, and I thought my friend who sent it to me was going to be with me there the first week, but she couldn't. She was having gastric bypass surgery, so I was like on my own with a bunch of strangers. And mind you, this is the largest women's prison in the U.S.
Okay.
It houses thousands of female inmates. So I was reading online, like Louise Turpin is there, Pearl Hernandez is there, or is it Fernandez? The one who, there's a Netflix documentary how she had tortured her little boy and he had died, and just many, many like murderers and people of like high profile crimes. So I was like, cool, yeah, let's go.
Right.
So
No, that's already. I'm playing, like I said before, I'm kind of coming in here blind, so I'm very interested to hear a lot of Alyssa's stories. So
yeah, I didn't know much about it except that I would help set up and help the ladies paint. We were given a list of rules not to tell them anything personal about ourselves. Not to correspond with them, like if they were to give us like their inmate information, we're not allowed to write to them or call them or any of those things.
Really?
Yes.
No pen pal thing?
No pen pals, no nothing. They don't want any
Oh.
correspondence.
Okay.
And it was very like Silence of the Lamb. They were like, don't give them any small amount of personal information about you. They'll get in your head. I was like, okay, we're not.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah,
used to stay
exactly,
away
yeah.
for Alyssa.
we've built
They're
a
willing everyone in.
reconstruction of their cabin in the woods.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Dr. Lecter is going to be in there. Okay, so I was like, I think we'll be all right. So, the first day we get there, I show up early, and mind you, it's summertime. It is over 100 degrees out here. There's no shade. Like, it's super hot, and we're all wearing all black because you cannot wear any colors. Like, you can't wear the colors that look like the prisoners or what the COs are wearing. There's certain things that you can't wear because they're just like, it's against the rules. And
Oh, it's like gang affiliation,
yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
all right, fine. All black it is, I guess. So I check in, I get my badge, and we all start walking through a couple of stops. You have to check in twice. You check in at the front, walk all the way through the gates. You go through a couple of double gates. I never had to go through a security screening. I never walked through a metal detector or anything like that. The only thing
Oh,
is,
really?
yeah, at first they said that we were going to have to do that, but then they were like, nah,
Yeah.
you're good. Like, they told me, like, oh, you don't wear an underwire bra. And I was like, that's all I can wear. Like, and they were like, oh, you guys
And don't
are
bring your
okay.
20 knives, Alyssa.
Yeah, don't bring any of those things, or, if you have a gun in your car, just leave it. I'm like, okay, I don't have that.
Sounds fair to me.
Yeah, and of course, no cell phones or anything like that, and no metal hydro flasks, only a plastic bottle of water. I was like, sure, fine.
A clear one, right?
Clear, yeah.
Yeah.
I could have brought
Yeah.
my jug.
Yeah, a couple of people did, and then my friend was like, I'm bringing my hydro flask, and she did every day. A metal one, no one said anything.
Well,
So that's what I was talking about, man. Like, if they
Mhm.
weren't gonna like check the Hydro Flash, just a couple of Rice Krispies and Slim Jims in there.
I know, right? I would have been. They would have been stoked about that. Like
Yeah, it would
they're
have been king.
yeah, their candy stash is limited, but they all seem to get it somehow. So
Suspicious.
yeah, we check in again, and then we start making our walk towards the gym, and that's where everything's going to be held. By the time we get there, their church services is over with, and everybody's like stacking up chairs. I'm like, all right, now we're finally going to get to meet the inmates. We walk in, have to check in again, and always in the gym, there's one CO, and there's one, they call him sponsor, and they sit at a table, and they kind of like take everybody's IDs, and the inmates have what are called ducats, and it's basically like tickets to say like I can do this, like I'm allowed to do this
Like a
activity
voucher?
program. Yeah, saying like, hey, I have a gold star for being good. I get to do this today. And they're like, okay, so
Nice.
I heard you guys validate.
yeah, can you validate, please? Yeah, and they tell them, you're not allowed to bring anything from your cells, even if it's paintbrushes. Like, you don't bring any personal items in here because everything will turn into a fight. So we get in and everybody's super nice. The gym is hot, humid. They have these giant industrial fans, but the gym is cooled with a swamp cooler. Now, I'm in the
Right.
valley. It's like 105 outside, so you got to imagine how humid and nasty it is in there. It was really gross, and I'm wearing all black. And I'm not really, like, drinking out of my water the first day. I don't want to open it, and I don't want to take it to my table with me because I had heard, like, hepatitis runs rampant in this prison, and people will fuck with you all the time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to... I'm so,
Just
like, I have
slip something
OCD.
in
Yeah,
there.
I'm not... No, thank
So
you.
I feel like the Hydro Flask would have been good to have, right?
Yeah,
Especially the straw attachment one.
exactly. I did take it the last few times because I was like, after I got comfortable, I was like, okay. But the first day, I'm like trying to feel things out, you know?
Right.
What are they gonna do? Send me to prison?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
So, I get in, and the first thing I notice is this lady who's, probably my mom's age and super nice. She's like sweeping, welcome in everybody, come on in. Oh, we're so glad to see you guys, and oh, we're grateful for you to be here for us, and thank you for coming. Here, can we get these tables out for you? And a lot of them came, and they got every time we went in, they would bring the tables out, bring the chairs, help us set up and stuff. And I was like, wow, that lady's really nice. And then I had found out from someone else, she's been there for 22 years. I don't know
Dude,
why.
Just welcoming the new guests. Like,
She was so nice.
Yeah. what
A lot of them were nice.
Right.
So
She's like that Morgan Freeman character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shawshank.
It's-
Who's
Yeah.
been there forever.
It's just it's your
Just
home
like
now,
everyone's
so it's
grandpa.
like you're just gonna have to greet people like it's your home.
yeah, there
That's-
are a
that's
lot of
interesting.
people there that are like that. There's a lot of elderly women in there with like wheelchairs and walkers and stuff like that. They have someone helping them, and you're like, God damn, like, how long have they been here? What did they do? And
Easy pickings now.
yeah, and at first, we're under the impression that a lot of these women that are working with us, their crimes aren't like too crazy. Like, they're not violent criminals.
Oh, like non-violent crimes.
They're non-violent. Yeah, and then
You
they're
thought.
yeah. I thought. I'm like, oh, okay, so they're allowed to do this because they have good behavior and their background isn't too crazy. That was fucking wrong.
So that was a fucking lie.
So that was a fucking lie. That was extremely wrong. But I can say that the entire time that I was there, I was never scared. Not at all. Like, my group at my table, they were really, really fucking cool. The first week I was there, I sit down, and I have like 3 or 4 women around me, and the girl next to me, she's like a year younger than me. She was so nice. And I found out she's an artist, and she'd been there for a few years. And at first she had told me she'd been there for drunk driving. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, I had my kids in the car. It was a big thing. I had so many chances, and, I'm here now, and I'll be out in like a year. And I was like, oh, I was like, so you don't think you would drink? And she was like, nah. She's like, I'm over that, and, the girls around me weren't really talking about anything, you know, because we're not even supposed to talk to them about their crimes. They don't want us to talk about anything that'll make them agitated or escalate things or anything like that. But there's one girl in front of me who is like 24 years old, and like when I first saw her, you know, she puts on this like big smile. She's very pretty. I think she's Native and Hispanic. Like, she just has like this stoic looking face. She's very pretty, but she always looks serious. But when I ask her questions, you know, she'll be polite, smile, and things like that. And I would have conversations with her, and then she would trail off a lot. Like, we would be talking about things, and then she would start trail off, and then she started getting angry and talking about other shit. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then she goes, what are you going to school for? And I was like, I'm going for social work. She's like, I fucking hate social workers. I go, well, yeah, I'm sure you do, but, you know. I was like, what happened? And I was like, you had a bad social worker? Yeah, the ones in here, you know, they lie to me, and they say all this, that, and the other. They don't try to help me. I go, well, I'm not trying to be, you know, a social worker for inmates. I'm going to be a social worker for other things, you know. Like, I'll more than likely be working in hospice. And she goes, oh, for real? I was like, yeah. And I was like, I have experience with, you know, body transport and things like that. She goes, how do you do that? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, how do you be around like dead bodies? And I was like, you just... True. I was like, you know, it's not easy all the time, but I go, what does it for me is that I'm helping people. You know, I'm helping people. I'm reassuring them and, you know, giving them information while they're grieving. And I'm just doing a good thing, and it makes me feel good. And she goes, oh, yeah, all right, yeah, that's what's up. And talks about something else. So all the other women are like getting used to me and stuff and being really cool. And at some point we got to wrap up. And the first week was weird. We didn't really have a system down, but we get everything together. And at the beginning, we have to do a count. You have to have everything accounted for, 100 of this, 30 of that, blah, blah, blah. So when we wrap up, we're counting, and the women are starting to leave before we can finish counting. And then we find out we're missing shit.
Right.
And so as I'm walking out, the girls are getting searched. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are we supposed to do? So we go back to the front. We're counting there. Count. Oh, I think we're missing a few pins. Oh, we weren't missing a few pins. We were missing a whole box of these Posca markers. We looked them up. They're $800 a pack.
What?
I was like, why the fuck would they bring that in here?
Yeah,
why?
Wait. For what? What are these things? Posca what?
Posca markers. They're like acrylic paint pens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like, they're good for like tagging and shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, not to name names, but who did bring it in? Like, just somebody.
The people from the
I
program.
know these ones. Shit, I feel like I used to steal these from Walmart.
Okay,
exactly.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it.
The people
I
in the
know.
program.
I totally understand all this. Yeah, I'm just wondering who it was. Yeah, the program. Okay.
Yeah, they funded everything. They brought all the art supplies and stuff like that.
Oof.
Like, they brought those. And so, you know, they're like asking us, you know, did you count all of them in each box? And I was like, yeah, like I put everything back in my box. And so we were waiting there. It's taking forever. We're there for like 2 hours longer than we need to be. And then we get a call up and they're like, okay, well, we found it. One of the girls
obviously
had thrown it. Yeah, one of the girls threw it in the trash can to come and get it later. So I was like, oh, shit.
I like the strat.
I mean, but it's stupid because it had their name on it.
And also, it's such a high, or a big ticket item, right?
Yes,
so it's like
you would have found it.
There's no way you can be like, and now I'm gonna sell these acrylic markers on the underground black market of this prison.
Yeah,
because it's like,
I was like,
but you could just trace that back to you, and there's no other way you could be selling those things. Unless
the easiest way is that those pens are not on their commissary. So you know that they can't be buying them. And then you would see who had it and be like, where the fuck did you get this?
Right.
The art program, you're in trouble.
Yeah, right. Unless they like passed it off to a visitor, or you know what I mean?
I like to think like the GTA wanted stars start showing up.
Yeah, running around waiting for the stars to go away. Yeah, it was nuts. I was like, well, shit, not my fault, but, you know. But we're worried because, you know, when reports like that happen, they have to file, like, a report, or when incidents happen, they have to file a report, and they it goes to like the chaplain or whatever it is, and she was pissed at us because she was like, "Get your shit together. This is the first time you guys have done this program. They're already taking things from you. Like, you're being too nonchalant about it." And I'm like,
Yeah, wait, that's so.
Girl, I don't work here.
You know what? Yeah, I've had experiences like that too, where it's like you go into a program and all of a sudden they need you to be the expert, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, great. It would have been nice to know that you didn't know what you were doing before this.
Yeah.
Like, if I knew that you didn't need me to bring in art supplies to an art place, that would have been
Yeah.
nice to know.
I mean, I had ideas of what we could do to
Yeah.
straighten it up, but I'm not the person, the head of the program. It's this
Right.
it's this woman and her husband and her daughter was there, and I'm not going to be like, "Yo, we should do this,"
Right. Like, what are you gonna say?
But
Yeah, like, oh, we shouldn't bring
I
those
can't.
We
acrylics
should air
in.
tag all the markers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like, I know better than you do, person leader of the program. We shouldn't bring
Right.
these in. So,
And she's
okay.
such a nice lady. I
Yeah.
liked her a lot, but I think she was in over her head at the beginning. And when she was done at the women's prison, the next day they would go to a men's prison. And I
Okay.
guess at the men's prison it was a little smoother, and they didn't lose anything. So
Oh,
I
typical
wish I would've
men.
known.
Score one for the boys,
Yeah, that's
man.
a big
I
W.
Thanks, fellas. I know. I wish I would have known. I would have volunteered for that too. I would have loved to go into the men's prison, but
Yeah.
I digress. Next time.
I don't know if you
That
I
would
don't know
be
if you,
every Saturday, just all your weekends in prison,
Right.
whole weekends.
I don't know if you
So-
could handle the comments, or maybe you could.
Nah, I've had a couple guys that I knew that went to prison, so I've gone in for visitation and stuff, and seen them in the window, like waving, like "What's up?" And I've corresponded with a couple of them for
Hell
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, just for
Wow.
fun. They're nutty. Yeah.
Yeah, Alyssa, she lives on that razor's edge.
Oh yeah, but it's whatever. But yeah, man. So the first week was crazy. So the next Saturday comes around and we get an email the night before we got to go, and they're like, "Hey, so we're gonna try to have like a routine or like a system put in place so we don't lose anything." And this is what we're going to do, da-da-da. We're going to have these bags put together, a list, whatever, and keep an eye on things, And I was like, all right, cool. And I forgot to add, like, the first week, I didn't really know where to sit. So I was just kind of, like, walking around the whole gym and talking to everyone. And then I would, like, kind of stand by one table, and then that's how I made my group. I was talking to
Right.
them a lot. So the next Sunday comes, check in, get everything in, and one of the girls comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know I figured out who stole the shit from you guys, and you guys aren't going to have any more problems with that." And I was like, "Really?"
Oh, wow.
She was like, "Yeah,
We
'cause-
called in the hit.
yes, yeah, she was cool." She was like, yeah, she was like, "If these bitches fuck it up, they fuck it up for everybody, and I'm not trying to have that. Like, I want to do these programs. I enjoy this. This is therapeutic for me." She was like, so she found out who did it. She went to her cell with two other girls, and they were like, "If you do this shit again, we're gonna fuck you up. We'll fuck you up right now. Don't you ever do that shit again." And yeah, so they made their point.
So the queen bee, you got her. She seemed to take a liking to you.
Yes, she was
Oh my
very,
God.
very sweet.
It's like high school all over again.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's cool, but it's like it's high school that you can leave.
Yeah,
It's high school, you
at
can
any
leave.
time.
Yeah, but I mean, the second week was cool. Nobody took anything. I'm walking around looking at everybody's art. People are asking me for things. I'll go out of my way, like whatever. Getting them their paint refill, do this, that, and then they start like sharing candy with me and stuff like that. And some of them are like hesitant to tell me things, but I would tell them like, "Look, I'm not an employee here. I'm not gonna tell on anybody." You know what I mean? I was like, "Don't worry about it."
You're that
and-
cool.
Snitch.
Yeah, you're that-
Alyssa
I'm not a
said.
snitch.
You're that
Repped her gang signs.
Mm-hmm.
You're that cool contractor that isn't part of the establishment.
Right. If they need to go to the bathroom, I'd be like, I'd tell the CEO, "Hey, she needs to go to the bathroom, whatever." And one of the girls, she of when they were leaving, she had brought paintbrushes with her. And when they were leaving, the CO saw him and he took them from her. And she was like, those are mine for my cell. You can ask her. And I came up to him and I was like, hey, those are hers. I did my count. I have mine. Those are hers. And he's like, yeah, I've been taking them from everybody. If I give them back to her right now, then I have to give it back to everybody. And I was like, I get it. I was like, well, can she get them back eventually? He's like, I'll give them back to her next week. And so I guess he never did. I mean, he was cool to a point.
You tried.
I did try. I told her, I was like, I'm going to
Actually,
try to
I
give
will
them
paint with these.
Yeah.
These are my paintbrushes.
Fucking
You
guy.
told her you are now my crayon apprentice.
Right. I was just like, damn it, dude. Like, I tried to get it back for her, but, you know, I have no say over that kind of stuff. Other than that, he was really, really cool. Like, I asked him what his job consisted of, and he was like, I'm always in the gym. I open the bathroom door 5 times, and then I go home. I was like,
For real?
Yeah,
That's
and he gets
it?
paid a lot of money. I like
Yeah, I
him.
was gonna
He's
say,
cool.
he gets paid like $30 an hour.
Right? Yeah, he gets paid a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it probably is. I mean, I think I've had relatives that did like prison guard duty. And I mean, yeah, I don't know how well it pays necessarily, but like, yeah, a cush job in that scenario, you know, especially it's like a women's prison. I don't know, it might be worth it because I don't know how violent it gets. I feel like it doesn't get as violent as a men's prison might.
Right. You know, it does and it doesn't. They say that the women are way more emotional in there, and I did see some instances. Like, there was an older lady in front of me, super nice. You know, every time I came in, she was like, hey, baby, come on, sit next to me. You know, like, super, super fucking cool. And she told me, too, she's like, go look me up. She's like, go look at my stuff, you know, telling me her name and to look up her crime and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. You know, and at one point, there was a girl behind me, and she was like, oh, can you scoot over a little bit so she could talk to the girl? I was like, okay. And at first, I thought she was fucking around. She told her, and she was like, I don't appreciate you disrespecting me. And the girl was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I don't appreciate the disrespect. What happened when I was there for you? Do you remember when I was there for you when the world was against you? Do you remember when I was the only person who was there for you? And then you have my shit and you don't give it to me? And she was like, what? She's like, I haven't seen your ass for a week. She's like, I've been sick. She's like, I literally have not left my cell until today. I have been sick. She's like, you could have given it to somebody else to give to me. She was like, swear, like, I did not want to give it to anybody because I didn't want them to take it.
I'm
like,
so invested in this soap opera.
Yeah, she's like, I couldn't bring it with me here. I promise I will give it to you on the yard. And she was just like, all right, bet. We'll see. And I was like, oh, fuck, that was real.
That's real.
Yeah,
I love
crazy.
that.
We came in on like season 2.
I
We have like a whole lot of context missing.
I really want to see an
Yeah.
illustration, like a manga illustration of that.
Yeah, man. And the girl next to me, who I got close with, you know, she was just like, do you ever get nervous around us? And I was like, no. I was like, I feel like I'm pretty safe at this table. She's like, we're not going to let shit happen to you. And she's like, you're cool, you know, whatever. She's like, do you want to know how we make nail polish in here? And I was like, yeah. And she's laughing. She's all, yeah. I was like, yeah, let me see. Tell me your trade secrets, you know. She's like, yeah, so we steal paint from the art place, and then we get the floor wax from the janitor, and we mix it. And then she showed me her toes, and they were like perfectly like pretty teal.
Damn.
I was all, dang.
They got the mixture right.
Shit.
Yeah, I was like super toxic, but I mean whatever.
Like my nails are falling off.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
brittle.
right now they look good.
I was like, dang, I was asking her about all these other things that they do and how they make things, and I think that's on one of my lists that I wrote down. I talked to 3 of the girls on my last day and asked them about some tricks that they
That's
knew.
cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I was interested in that. I was like, I want to know all
That's
like the hacks that they do.
Right. That's our clickbait for this podcast. The top 10 prison hacks.
Yeah, dude. I heard a lot. It was pretty cool. A lot of the meals that they make, and
Yes, I want to know
yeah.
about
So I'm trying to think of. Oh yeah. Okay. So the girl in front of me, the 3rd week I think it was. Yeah, I finally get to sit down. They're like, you guys don't need to mosey around. You can sit at the table. And my group was like, once they picked me as their volunteer, nobody ever moved. It was the same group of girls. And they were off to my right. And I really feel bad for the women on my left because the girls on my right were always like talking to me. So like I would turn to my left and try to talk to them too. But I didn't get to as much as these guys, you know, so I do feel bad about
Everybody
that.
Loves Alyssa. I don't blame them.
But, and then the people around me too, like the girl who had caught the person stealing, she was behind me. So basically, like, I don't know how, there aren't a lot of cliques, but the girls at my table, the ones that were sitting around me, were mainly Hispanic. And then the girls behind me, the ones that, the girl who found the person who stole, African American, you know. And then there's white mixed around. And then there's a table where it's just transgender. Like, yeah. Cool as fuck. Cool as fuck. Like, we would play music in there and they'd be dancing and stuff. And everybody would, like, dance and sing together.
Hey, you guys played music?
Yeah, we had a radio.
What kind of music?
We were listening to, like, rap and hip-hop and stuff like that.
Nice.
You know, the girls in there, like, Megan Thee Stallion would come on. They would, like, get up and
hell
twerk.
yeah.
And I'd be all, like this. And then the CO would be like, sit down. Yeah. Like, I was all, sorry, you guys, I didn't bring any cash. They're like, it just, the one girl in front of me, she's like, give me your sunglasses. I was like, I'm not giving you shit.
Typical. That's so I love that interaction. It's like, give me your sunglasses. I'm not giving you shit.
Yeah,
I love that.
She, man, sitting across from me, like, there was always just, like, that weird vibe, you know, like I said with her, and, you know, she was always trying to take pens, too, but the girls around her were like, give it back to her, you know?
Just the rebel.
So, you know, after a while, she wasn't there, and I was like, man, like, what happened to her? Like, the last week that I saw her, she kept fucking around with the paint, and
the wax.
Yeah, right. She just kept, like, flicking the paintbrush, like, to make splatter marks on her heart, and they're not supposed to get paint on their clothes, right? And I was like, oh, you better be careful. The
really?
COs don't want you. Yeah. I was like, the COs don't want you to get paint on your clothes. She's all, fuck the COs. I was like, all right. I'm not going to say shit then.
I mean,
Based.
I guess if they... I mean, to be fair, to defend them for 1 second, they can't have specific colors, right? So they could be flicking the wrong colors.
Right. Well, it messes...
Just flick the blood.
I'm just saying. And then they're like, oops, it's all over me. Oh, no. And then all of a sudden they're, you know, they're part of the gang or whatever.
Well,
oh, my God. Half the painters in Hawaii just got jumped.
Exactly.
It fucks up the laundry because they most of them wear white undershirts.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And it's acrylic paint, and, you know, the people in the
We'll go
laundry
with
are
that
going
one.
to get pissed. And, like, if...
No, your gang idea is better.
Yeah,
Right,
you're right.
The
It's so much
slightest
better.
hint of a color.
No,
it
I'm
could
just
be
saying,
the color of their eye. They
if
get
they could
punched the fuck
exploit
out.
it. They could exploit it by, like, spraying themselves with the color. I'm not saying that they should do it. I'm just saying they could do it.
I think they should do it.
I think they should.
Right,
do it.
and, like, the thing about prison culture, too, is, like, they take pride in cleanliness. So, like, their cells will be spotless, their clothes are spotless, and the ones that have access to makeup and hair tools, they make themselves look nice. Like, the girl next to me was wearing fake eyelashes one day. She's like, do I look crazy right now? Or are these too much? I was like, no, you look pretty. Like,
nice.
they have hair straighteners, hair dryers, and things like that. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, but it's very limited. But, yeah, so that girl in front of me, she's flicking the paint. Mind you, I don't know what she's done. I just know that she's violent. Like, she tells me, oh, you know, if I were to get up out of here and get a job and my supervisor yelled at me, I would probably stab him. And I was like, well, that's okay.
All right, well,
sure.
McDonald's, watch out.
Yeah.
The spatula.
Yeah, dude. So that day she was flicking paint, and then the girl next to me was like, you're flicking me now. Like, it got on her shirt. She's like, and then they like locked eyes, and I was like, oh shit, they're gonna fight, because this girl in front of me, she's combative, she's hostile, and she just hands me back the paintbrush, and I was like, oh, okay, so this tells me that the girl next to me has like superiority in this situation. Yeah. When I went home and looked up what she did, I mean, she killed somebody with her bare hands. She killed somebody, she, you know, wrapped them up in plastic, and then she, like, made a run for it. The girl in front of me, she had killed somebody driving recklessly. So it wasn't that she
Right.
intended to kill somebody, but she was just
You
like,
have no car, and thus you have no power.
right. Like, she was completely sober too. She's just a maniac. Like, I can
Ah,
say,
okay.
meeting her, I've met a true psychopath. She has no regard for human life, even her own. She's she's batshit crazy. The judge told her that she deserves to be in prison, that she should never be let out. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
And that's what. Yeah. I mean, and that's why people like you are like going in there and doing the things that you do. Like, it's rare. It's rare for somebody to kind of pluck up the courage to do that, but it's valuable stuff.
It's definitely valuable because I've always believed, to an extent that there's room for improvement, there's room for rehabilitation, but if you met somebody like that, you would be like, there's no fucking way. Do you think this person would respond to a therapist or would take medication that was given to them and said, hey, this will help you? Fuck no. Even in her court report, she's like, fuck them, fuck that. Oh, I stole a car. May as well waste the gas and da-da-da. And they're like, you killed somebody. And she was just like, oh, I didn't mean to hurt nobody. I was like, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was, under the influence. And they test her sober, clean as a whistle.
Yeah. Definitely sounds like someone who wants you to think that they didn't know what they were doing or that they made a bad judgment call, but it sounds like cold blood. I mean, from what you said, allegedly.
She's, terrifying, and then...
Well, she has some sort of self-preservation, right? Or she wouldn't try to pick a fight with any of those people, right?
Yeah, I think she knows that if she causes problems with the girl next to me, then the rest of her time there is going to be very bad.
Hell.
And that's where she has to live for the rest of her life. Mm-hmm. So she
don't piss off your neighbors.
Yeah, there are some rules that you do have to follow because, I mean, they'll starve you out. They'll beat your ass every day. Like, they'll take your things from you. They will make her life hell.
For sure.
And she's been to rock bottom. She will fuck around and fight and fight and fight. Like, she told me, like, she's been on suicide watch. She's in the hole all the time. And I'm like, God damn, like, you just think to yourself, like, this person can't come back from this. There's no way that this person could be a functioning member of society. And it's shitty to say that as a social worker because you're just like, you want to believe the best.
Lost cause.
Yes, you want to believe the best of people, but there is that, And then I've taken psychology classes enough to know, like, some people can't fucking be helped. It is very interesting.
I mean, I feel like some people just kind of adapt to the environment of prison, and that's just kind of where they're just gonna stay. Like,
she's definitely institutionalized.
Yeah.
She's been in and out since she was 15.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, if you just kind of, it's not a good situation, but sometimes it's just kind of what someone will gravitate to if they're just in that environment and they can't really escape it. They'll just adapt to it. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what some of them were telling me. They were like, we're career criminals. This is what we live. This is what we know. If we were to be let out today, that's how we would make our money. Like, it's very hard to break that habit and live as like a normal law-abiding person because we know how to survive.
All right.
But that's what they're learning in there is to stop doing that shit and to be legit. Like when she was all one of the ladies was like, are you counting? Like, are they making you keep those things in your bag? And I was like, yeah, I feel bad. She goes, it's okay. We know we're thieving bitches. I was like, stop.
Other based.
Yeah. But the girl next to me, that did her crime, she had killed somebody with her bare hands. Like, I got to know her. I read her case, and she eventually told me about what she did. And she was just like, my crime came from trauma. She's like, I had been abused since I was a child, and the person that was supposed to protect me allowed it to happen, and I finally snapped. And, you don't want to say, like, like, it makes sense that you did that because, it's never a good thing, but it makes sense why she did it,
Right.
The conditions and the circumstances that she was dealt. Like, she was like, what they didn't put in that court report? I was pregnant with twins. Twins and I was on drugs. I was not in my right mind. I did not mean to do that. She's like, I was terrified. And I was like, oh my God, that's fucking crazy. And she eventually had miscarried and Now she's just she does art, and she's a really really nice person. Like if I could, I would write to her and I would collect art from her, but for the program I can't.
Right. Well, there you
Just
go.
go under an alias.
Leave it, Alyssa.
Well,
I know.
What a plot twist.
Should have like gave them like a the secret name to find on their pen pals, like a Brian or a Daniel or something. Like, I'm that person. Just don't tell anybody.
So that person's separate from the person that you think is not a is.
Yeah, she's separate.
Yeah.
The girl right next to me, yeah, she was separate from the maniac in front of me.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to make that clear. Yeah. So it takes all kinds in prison.
Yeah, it takes all kinds, and I learned a lot. Like, a lot of them were like, read my case,
Right.
And it's just so crazy. And especially growing up around like really bad shit and knowing people that have like gone through things. Like, I've met a lot of people and been through domestic violence myself, but like I saw the extremes of every single one of those situations. Like, when I was growing up, I knew people that sold drugs and got into trouble and all that, and like here's people that sold fentanyl to somebody and they died, or they had like a huge drug trafficking ring and they're in there for like ever and ever. And like, there was a lady, so nice. I had read her case. She had gotten arrested in the 90s, and it was the epitome of like domestic abuse, like when a relationship just like had reached its head, and she verbatim said these classic words. She told him, if I can't have you, no one else can. And she chased him and shot him. He didn't die, but he got shot.
Yeah.
And she's still there.
Cliche.
Dang, yeah, that is
very cliche.
No, that is interesting. It's something I hadn't thought about much before, but like, if you're in prison like that, and it's like one of the only things you might want someone to do if they just someone who's not in prison but comes and sees you is like, you would want them to like read your case, just in case like you thought they were pretty like justified or something. Like, they would think, it's like, oh man, I just want somebody to like read my case, because maybe that person will be like, yeah, that was so just, or like decently justified or something. Like, maybe that's not what they hope, but like I could see that being something that you want to like have somebody know about you right up front. Like, just read the case file, then come see me, or then judge me.
Yeah, it took a couple of weeks for a lot of them to tell me. Like, the girl next to me, after, I think it was after the third or fourth, I can't remember, but I'd sat next to her and she was saying, I have to tell you, like, I killed somebody. And I said, I know. And she was like, you read my case? I said, yeah. I was like, I'm going to be 100%. I've been looking all of you guys up. She's all, for real? I was like, yeah.
On Instagram.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. I have no reason to lie to you. And she was like, okay. And then, she had gone on to explain everything. And then the girl across from me, she's so beautiful. I sent you guys the picture of her. Just gorgeous, 24 years old, like perfect body, long hair, and just, I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, she has some tattoos and stuff. And I had read, she was a stripper, and on the court report, like, it had said that she and her boyfriend lured a guy to a hotel to rob him, basically, and they shot and killed him. And I was just like, what is that? Like, I feel like that's not exactly what happened. She was like, no. She was like, my ex, I had just started dating him. He was insanely jealous. Like, I had been dancing for a while. That's how I made my money. I never brought friends with me. I never brought boyfriends with me when I would go and do a dance. Like, I had a business, and this guy that I danced for, I had done it so many times, like, he would front me money. She's like, we had a good, like, relationship, and he wanted me to meet him at a hotel. And the boyfriend was getting jealous, trying to grab her phone, trying to get the address, wanted to go with her, and she kept telling him, no, like, I keep that shit separate. Like, I don't need you going over there and ruining this for me. And she was like, plus, this guy is dangerous. He always has a gun on him. I want you to stay here. And he was like, nah. So he drove her to the hotel, and he knew what room that she would be in, and he said that he was going to wait in the car. So as she's, like, walking up the stairs and opens the door. Like, she can hear that guy on the phone with the boyfriend downstairs, and they're arguing. And he's like, well, come up here then, motherfucker, blah, blah, blah. So that guy runs up there. He has a gun. The guy in the room sees him, points his gun at him, and the boyfriend shoots and kills him. But since that guy died with his hand on a gun, finger in the trigger, and bullet in the chamber, it looks like self-defense. So they only got like 6 years. I was like, dang.
That is interesting how that can turn out.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider, all the little details that can influence who gets
these
what.
Little technicalities.
Yeah.
Because you'd think, oh, you murdered somebody? Prison forever. And they're like, nah. I'm like, what?
Nah.
Self-defense, prison, a little bit.
Just a little bit, as a treat.
And then, come to find out, like, I'm reading these stories, the girls are telling me certain things. My entire table is full of murderers. Every single person at my table has murdered someone.
Sounds like my family reunions.
Right?
Not at all.
I was like, oh my God. Like, I had no fucking idea. Like, there was a girl around me that she was real quiet, she always put herself together, and I was like, oh, she's really sweet. And one day I was talking about, like, my niece and nephew and, like, little kids and how funny they are to play with, and she goes, oh yeah, my sister brings my niece to play with me, she's really sweet. Well, come to find out, she killed her baby. Yeah.
Damn.
She was pregnant and
Record
she
scratch.
hid it. Yeah, she wasn't a teenager, by the way. She was in her 20s. She was pregnant. She hid it. She had the baby in her bedroom, and she wrapped the baby in plastic and put it in a suitcase and shoved it under the bed. It suffocated. And then she had to go to the hospital. Her dad found her. She was, like, bleeding profusely, and, eventually they were like, oh, she gave birth recently, and they found the baby. The dad was like, what the fuck? We would have been fine with this. Her boyfriend would have been fine with it. And she just, no one knows why she did that.
Damn, she snapped.
I mean, it's a bit of a what do you call it? A situation. What do you call it? Where you disassociate, I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like that. I mean, maybe not technically, or maybe a variation of that, but yeah.
Yeah. She was denying it. She was trying to say, like, oh, I thought it was IBS, da-da-da, and she just...
Kind of justifications, post hoc justifications.
Yeah, I just was like, oh my God, like, she could have taken the baby to a fire station and done the safe drop-off. She could have done it. She could have gone to the hospital and been like, I don't want this baby. And then,
I know.
Anything.
It's traumatic. It's a trauma response. I mean, again, not to justify it, or not to excuse it, but to at least explain it.
Yeah, like, it was so crazy. Like, being a teen mom and reading those stories about women that did
perspective.
That. Yeah, I'm just like, God, like, I get being scared. I get that, but, like, you were in your 20s and you had support. Like, why? It will never make any sense to me. It's
definitely something. I mean, to be fair, not to play defense, but, like, bringing another life and especially if you didn't know what you were doing or whatever, like, that would be, like, a crazy thing. I mean, again, I can't even imagine, obviously, but, like, if you just imagine yourself bringing in another life into, like, the world, and, like, and especially if you weren't, like, expecting to do it, or you didn't know what that implied, at some point, and then it's real, and it's like, I could see how that could be traumatic in a certain way. Not, again, I wouldn't respond that way even if it did happen to me, but I could see, like, I can see where the craziness comes from in the mind of someone who might already be predisposed to something like that.
Yeah, like, there's women that respond to trauma, like, that way. Like, there's husbands that abuse them and threaten them, and they drown their kids, or, like, there's a woman in there that shot 3 of her kids, and they, people respond in different ways. It's insane, because you're like, oh my God, as a mother, why would you do that? But, like, in these moments of psychosis, they think that they're saving them.
Yeah.
I don't think that that was the case for the girl that suffocated her baby. I think that she was just um, there's just
Denying
something,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
denying it, and she
Right.
was just not equipped mentally to handle something like that. Like she needs help, and even now, I don't think that she really knows what she did. Like,
Mm.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
very strange.
that does sound like some true crime stuff that we've kind of some of us have kind of been exposed to. Definitely, uh, there's irrational things that happen postpartum, especially. I mean that just f's
Hmm.
with your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I experienced postpartum depression with both my kids. I get it, but like, I've never had that feeling of wanting to abandon them. If anything, I cling to them. I
Right.
do know
Mm.
girls that have gone through it where they're just like, oh my God, I want to leave her at a bus stop and not come back, because
It's
you're just
it's
so tired.
it's a crazy hormone
Yeah.
rush. You know what I mean? Shit, I get
Yeah.
crazy hormone rushes. It's in certain situations all the time, and I can
Hmm.
imagine being pregnant and then giving birth and then being depressed. Like that's like the craziest like three, 1, 2, 3 punch I can imagine. Like,
It's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot.
The three body
The
problem.
the three
Yeah.
punch problem, like right there.
Yeah.
But
It's
no,
crazy.
yeah, and like I say, your perspective is so unique.
Yeah, and that's why I volunteered, because I'm like, as a social worker, I have to go in with no bias. I
Right.
can't feel sympathy like, oh, these poor people, they don't know any better or anything like that. I'm there to observe, I'm there to learn, every side of every situation and take the information
Did
in. And
did they know that you were a teen mom?
um I told a couple of them. Yeah, I
Okay,
told a
yeah,
couple of them.
sure.
And they respected that. They were just like, "Damn, wow, like you've done a lot, in your life, and now you're here with us. Like we appreciate that,
That's
And
cool.
they were like, "I bet your kids are good, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're pretty good."
I can
My kids are the
yeah, we
best.
can
That's for
confirm.
sure.
Yeah, they're good. And the girl behind me, the one that found the girl who stole, she was just like, your husband's black, huh? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, do you guys have any babies? And I was like, yeah, I have my oldest daughter, and then I have one with him. And she was like, oh, I'm getting older, and she's like, I feel like nobody's gonna want to have kids with me when I get out of here. And she was just like, oh, I hope she does good. I hope they don't get into trouble. And she's like, you tell them that somebody's in here thinking about them, and hoping that they do their best. I was like, I'll tell them, and I was telling her a little bit about Hattie, how crazy she is, how funny she is, and she'd be like, "Oh my God, she sounds so sweet," and she was really cool. And so, you know, at the very end of it all, like we had a party for them. I brought them a big box of Rice Krispie treats. We got that approved, so that was cool.
Hell yeah.
Damn,
And
that ain't bad at all.
yeah, the party was cool, man. During the whole thing, everybody's like taking pictures and stuff like that. Like, and they would take the women off to a private room, and they would hold their heart, and they would film them. They would talk about their heart story, basically. And so a lot of the girls were like dressing up, doing their hair for that. So I was sitting at the table with my group. They get my chair for me and all that, and sit down, and we're like painting the girl next to me. She painted my bag and everything. And before I forgot, I had a lot of them sign a piece of paper. They had like tagged their names on a piece of paper. I have it over here.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so we have the party. I'm getting everybody their pizza and everything like that. And God, all the girls around me, they keep going, "Aren't you gonna eat? What do you want, a diet? What are you gonna eat?" And I was just like, you guys, I want to make sure everybody gets what they need. I'm not going to take from you guys. I'm going to make sure everyone else eats before I eat anything. I said, I can get something on the outside.
Right.
Right.
I can get pizza whenever I want.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. It's like, come on, guys, take the Rice Krispie, man. Like I can make like 300 more of these like in no time.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not trying to take from anyone. I want you guys to have your own stuff. Like I want you guys to get enough. Like if there's extra, I want you guys to have it. And so they're like, oh, everybody's got food, go get yours, And so I go, I get my 3 slices.
You
or whatever,
have to
and
get
I
a
set it
little bit. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I set it down. I ate like 1, and then I let them have more.
Yeah.
And they kept going, can you get us this? Can you get us this? And I was like waiting, and I was like, I would go, I'd get more pizza, more drinks and stuff, and hand it to the tables around me. Like, here you go. You know?
God,
and,
I mean, if I were in prison, like any pizza from anywhere I wanted would be my biggest like desire.
Yeah,
it would control my mind.
Yeah, they were so excited, and like, they were passing out cupcakes, and they asked me if I wanted one, and I was like, no thanks, I'm good. And they were like, you're slipping. I was like, oh shit, that's right. I go, yeah, let me have it, and I handed it to whoever at the table. I was like, here, you guys can have mine.
Yo.
I was like, oh fuck, I'm sorry. Yeah, so
you need to learn. You slipping. You need to learn the culture, man.
Yeah, they're like, you're slipping, you're supposed to give that to us. I was like, oh shit, yeah, here, anything I don't have, you guys can have. So
wow, Alyssa's hungry. She ate like 10 pizzas by herself.
Right?
Oh my God.
The last day was so cool though, because like, they got the speaker on, and they're telling everybody, all right, we're gonna have the volunteers stand up, we're gonna say their names, whatever. And so they're just saying everybody's name. They get to me, my table's like, yeah, Alyssa, yeah, I'm like pounding on the table. They go around.
You won the cup, or wait, the house cup, or whatever.
I know, that's what it felt like.
In Hogwarts, whatever you call that.
My table was all loud. I'm just on, like whatever. And
10 points to Alyssa.
Yeah, the program lady, she was just like, all right, does anybody else want to say anything? Whole gym, Alyssa. Yeah.
The standing ovation, the encore.
Stop it.
I got clapped out of my program.
Inmates love me. You heard it here.
Well, there you go. No, that's actually a badge of honor. Honestly, you need to put that on your resume.
Yeah, dude. So the girl behind me, she was like, I had told her about Hattie and everything like that, and Hattie had wrote her a note saying, like, you're not a bad person. We love you and care about you. Like, I hope you get out soon.
I'm
right?
correct.
And she made Hattie a wand with her favorite color, and it has a 186 on it. And they told me it means, like, I'm sending my love to you at light speed. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then she wrote her a letter. I have it right here. Says, Hattie, you hold a big old piece of my heart, and I'll be around as long as I can be. No, I'm not a bad person, but I want you to look back and see my mistakes and learn from this and go off and do great things. I'll be one of your biggest supporters. I can't wait to actually meet you. And then she wrote me. She said, my new friend, I'm going to miss you, and I hate that I had to meet you under these circumstances. But please believe me when I say God makes no mistakes, and us meeting and me being able to share my story just a little made my heart smile. I pray that your family blossoms and we forever be great friends. I promise to be good so I can make it home, and I promise to always hold a place in my heart for you and your family. Here's all my info. Keep it safe. And then she wrote me her home address and how to contact her in prison. A lot of the girls gave me their info.
And the podcast now can't get better than that. Yeah,
it's pretty. It was pretty cool. It was hard. We couldn't hug.
Oh, real?
You're not allowed to hug, but
because you might pass some shit.
Yeah, she and I like got teary eyed, but she like fist bumped me. The girl next to me, she didn't care. She hugged me really quick. They're like, ay, but
she got a knife.
Yeah. She was. I'm trying to remember like what else she told me before I left. Dang, I just had it. Shoot. I don't know, but I asked them different questions, about, I think, Legion had made me a list, but,
yeah.
I forgot to print it out, so I was trying to remember as much stuff as I could. So I wrote a couple of those things down. This is a piece of paper from the table, the table covers that we have, and I was just writing stuff down while we were there.
Do not ask Alyssa how she smuggled smuggled it out of there.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm surprised. Like, a lot of them gave me info and stuff. They were like, let us know. The girl next to me was like, let me know how I can send art to you. Like, and they were like, apply for more programs. Like, if you volunteered to do programs, we are going to sign up for them. And I was like, all right, cool.
I
They were
mean,
like, so sweet.
people make livings off of like doing prison programs. Like, it's not like out of the question to like if you have experience this way. I mean, we shouldn't talk shop on a live podcast, but like, dude, that's definitely a way. Like, if you have kind of a route in like that, a way in, there's especially with the knowledge you have of what is important to these people. It's
Absolutely.
like, yeah, it's definitely something that you can try to provide for them.
Yeah, the videographer was so cool. So basically, they would film and they would take pictures throughout, and my table, they wanted to take a picture with me, a group photo. And so I took a picture with them, and then the girls behind me, they were like, no, we want in her picture too. We want pictures with Alyssa. So I had a huge group.
An entourage.
Yes, just like hugging me with these girls. It's so funny.
Hell yeah.
Because one girl didn't want to take a picture with the girls in her group. She's like, I'm not taking fucking pictures with them. She's like, I don't take pictures with anybody. I don't fucking like anybody. I was like, that's not true. You like me. She's all, oh, well, I'll take a picture with you. And I was like, all right. Yeah. So it was really cool. And they were supposed to show us a slideshow on the last day, but the laptop fucked up, and they didn't.
Oh.
I've been emailing them. I emailed them last week, and I emailed them today, and I was like, hey, I would really like to see the pictures that you guys took of us and the slideshow, if you could send me that information. So as soon as they do, I'll send you guys those pictures. I am desperate to see the pictures of me with the inmates. I want to print them. So
yeah, and then we can get like some more like off podcast, more names.
Off podcast, I'll be able to tell you like who's who. Yeah. Like, when they would video the girls telling their stories individually, the videographer, she was like, I just want to let you know that, we asked them what one of the most impactful experiences they had during the program was, and each of them said, it was their volunteer. And they said that not only did she talk to us, but she listened to us. She treated us like a human being, and that was the most important part of the experience.
That's really cool.
What?
Not Alyssa.
Me.
Couldn't be Alyssa.
Couldn't be me. I was like, this is so fucking cool. It was such a good experience.
You definitely jive with those with the downtrodden. You're Jesus.
Thank you. That's what I said. I was like, I'm like female Jesus. I don't mean to toot my own horn.
Quick, everyone bring their water bottles.
I mean,
right.
No, she might be downplaying herself a little bit there, but yeah.
Right. But yeah, I learned some valuable lessons, and towards the end I was like, can I ask you guys questions? I was like, my friends, they want to know some things about you. I didn't tell them about the podcast or anything like that. And but I did tell
inmates, them if you're listening.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, yeah, say hi guys if you guys find us. I told them, I was like, my friend, he lives in Hawaii, and they were like, he does? I was like, yeah. And they were like, is he cute? And I was like, yeah, he's cute. And they were like, oh, okay, well, tell him we said hey, and tell him we're going to come visit him. I was like, all right. And they gave me the information. I was like, so, it's both my friends, they were asking these questions, and they were like, tell them to write to us, like, we'll respond. They gave me their information, and they were like, we just want to have other people to talk to. I was like, yeah, one of them lives in Illinois, and the other one lives in Hawaii. And they're like, that's so fucking cool. Like, tell them to write to us. So I was like, okay. So I had asked a couple of them some questions, and so how do I refer to them? So the former stripper in front of me, former stripper, I asked her what her favorite song was.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And she said, Do I Want to Know by the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
That's
actually unexpected.
I know.
Arctic
I need to listen to it. I was like, okay.
It's Arctic Monkeys. That's classic. Wait, that's favorite song? I'm sorry.
Her favorite song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, what's one of your favorite tricks in prison? that you learned, and she said using a bar of soap to do edge control, like her baby hairs.
Wait.
Oh, wow.
How does that work? So you
just rub it.
Oh.
Because normally you would use gel, so you just kind of rub it on your hair and it stays.
Like baby hairs, that's such like a non-factor for any man, basically. So
Right, yeah, the little swirls. And she's beautiful. I've seen what she does.
Soap tech, I love it.
Yeah, I asked her, what would you go eat? If you got out today, what would you go eat? And she said seafood. I was like, okay.
Based.
Yeah, I mean that's that Legion Line knows about that.
Yeah, so she will be coming to Hawaii.
Hell yeah, dude! I was gonna say.
Confirmed.
I asked her, what's the one thing you really miss outside, prison? And she was like, driving her car.
Oh, she's one of those.
Yeah, dude. I was like, she's like, just being in my car, turning up my music, and just. I was like,
definitely.
Yeah, I feel it.
Like, especially when
it's Alyssa, basically.
If you're cooped up, yeah, exactly.
she did that on her way back to her house.
I'm not usually one who says I like to go for a drive, but if someone says I couldn't, I'd be like, I need to go for a drive right now.
For 6 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked her, does she have any advice for people outside of prison? And she said to think twice. Think twice about every decision that you make.
Oh,
right.
ominous.
I think 3, 4 times.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
well,
I overthink. That's why I didn't get my fucking tattoo.
Yeah, dude, you thought way too many times.
You thought too many times. 2 times.
6 times.
You only need 2.
That's what I said earlier. I said I'd like a tattoo artist to say, think on it. But you know what? I also don't live on an island. Like, I think, that's what Legion says.
They're like, just get it, bro. Who
yeah,
cares?
just get it. I don't know. There's a middle ground there, but yeah.
I said, what do you want to do when you get out? And she said she wants to have a tattoo shop because she did have a tattoo.
Damn,
let's go, Alyssa.
Very topical.
I mean, everybody. That's where we're getting our podcast.
Yeah, this is the
friend group tattoo.
segue into Legion's tattoo section. Just kidding.
Hell yeah, let her mark you up.
A lot of canvas left.
Yeah.
Oh, she wants to do that and real estate.
Oh yeah.
I would let her tattoo me. I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, right. I would too. And I've seen the tattoos.
Yeah, right.
I know, right? Just dragging it.
Well, it's okay. It's okay.
Let's get that shading in.
Yeah, I saw the ones that she did on herself too, and they were pretty good.
Okay,
so
okay. I'm down.
And then I asked her what she wants to do when she gets out, the first thing, and she said she wants to visit Legion.
Oh, dang. I don't blame.
I was like, okay.
Okay, if she does and then she contacts you, I will book that flight as well.
Right? I'm on my way.
I'm there.
Let me get that pen pal system set up.
Exactly.
First.
I mean, hey,
Confirm
we
all
got the
these
link.
things.
I mean, hey.
Okay, so the girl next to me, I asked her what her favorite song is, and she couldn't think of one, so she said anything oldies.
Oh, my dad would love her.
Yeah, she's really cool. And then I asked her like one of her favorite tricks in prison, and she said using a tampon string to do like threading, like to like it's hair removal.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, eyebrows, upper lip, anything.
That is
actually, yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
I could see it though.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd save so much money.
Yeah. She was like, you want me to show you? But she didn't have one on her. I was like, yeah, do mine. But like, she didn't have any string. I was all shit.
The arch string. Where's the arch string?
I know, right? Still, I know someone would have it, I'm sure. Oh, it's in my pocket.
Yeah.
It's in the trash can.
Yeah, it's in the trash can. Just get it. I asked her what she wanted to eat when she got out, and she said Morisco's seafood. I was like, oh, okay.
A lot of seafood shout-outs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah. Sounds like maybe sushi. Maybe she wants sushi.
They're all from Southern California.
Yeah.
So, like, beach towns. I was like, oh, okay.
Makes sense.
I asked her what was one thing she missed. She said her kids. And then I said, do you have advice for people on the outside? She said to not take anything for granted. And she also wants to do tattoos and real estate. when she gets out.
Damn, tattoos are popular in prison.
We have artists lined up. It's awesome.
They're very artistic. I wish I could show you guys their stuff. When I go to the installation, I'm going to take pictures of their heart so you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Videos as well.
Yeah, and same thing. She wants to visit Legion.
Let's go.
Just have a reunion in Hawaii.
Right. So the girl behind me, who wrote Hattie the Letter and all that, her favorite song is Diamond by Rihanna.
I like a cover of that song, actually.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Like by Willie something. I forget his name.
I'm going to have to look it up then. But I was like, oh, I like that song too. And she's like, yeah, I just love it. She was the only one that I met that wasn't in there for murder. Like,
oh, nice.
Her
So,
crime was
white
like
collar?
pretty low. Like basically, she had worked at a bank and
White collar.
she had let one of her friends come in. They stole an ATM card and pulled money off of it. So she got in big trouble. She was just like, I wake up every day going, how the fuck did I get here? I can't believe I'm in prison. I sleep right next to somebody who killed their baby. Like, I just...
Don't steal from rich people.
Exactly. So she was just like, yeah, I've never been in trouble.
Don't get
before.
caught stealing from rich people. Crazy. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And always steal from corporations, allegedly.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how much time she got for, like, a first crime, too. Like,
I was going to say, like, non-violent first offense, That's kind of fucking crazy.
I learned a lot. Yeah, like, judges are really harsh on women inmates. Like, it's pretty fucking crazy. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of other drama there. But yeah, she said when she gets out, she wants Buffalo Wild Wings fried pickles.
Hell yes.
She said that she missed her mom the most.
Hell yeah, I agree. I would.
So do you have advice for anybody on the outside? She said, never stop dreaming, never stop believing. I was like, are you quoting Journey?
Journey, that's Journey.
She was like, oh yeah, I forgot.
That's like every high school graduation.
Yeah, the quote, senior quote.
Everyone quotes that. Yeah, everyone quotes that.
Let's see. I said, what do you want to do when you get out? She said she wants to finish her microblading certificate and open a juice bar.
Juice.
And I said, like, oh, yeah, I said, what's one of the things you guys make in here that you like? And she said they're called chicken balls. And she explained to me what it was, but I can't remember how it was that she made it.
No.
It's some crazy prison recipe, but yeah, it's chicken balls. They're like meatballs.
Did you get the recipe for those burritos that you make with ramen and, like, something else?
Oh, I don't have it, but if I call my uncle, he'll tell me how to do it, because, you know.
I can't remember what you call it all of a sudden, but yeah, I've seen, like, videos of that. I mean, honestly, it's something that I would eat, but it would only be, I don't know, like...
After, like, a huge blunt.
Yeah, right. Or super drunk, and also, like, if I could just slap it in the microwave for, like, 2 minutes, I wouldn't go through all, like, the trouble of doing it.
But, yeah, I couldn't remember any more questions to ask her, but I asked her, you know, what does she do to keep busy? And she said that she likes to braid, she likes to do makeup, and that sometimes they do have parties there. They let them, they kind of do their own, like, makeshift parties. They'll, like, hand paint decorations for someone's birthday, or if somebody gets married or has a baby, they'll do stuff, and they're allowed to have their hacky sacks, hula hoops, and they play volleyball, and she said they want tetherball.
So they role play Hawaiians when they have a party.
That's, I mean, pretty much.
The hula skirts come out.
Yeah.
Everyone's
shirtless.
That's why they all want to come visit you, dude. They're like, we learned it all. We're trained.
Oh my gosh.
Is that the conspiracy? All prisoners get exported to Hawaii?
To Hawaii.
I know, right? They send them off there.
That explains
a lot. Dude, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say you could make a remark here.
Yeah, it's pretty bananas. Like, some of the stuff that they do have, like when I walked into the back room to get the tables and chairs, like
the back rooms,
they do have the back rooms, the band room where they keep the supplies so nobody takes things. Like, there's a popcorn machine, a cotton candy machine, and yeah, that's for, like, if they do, like, oh, I don't know, like just like little events for them. Like I think they did one for Mother's Day and things like that. But
like Christmas and stuff
damn,
like
did
that.
you feel?
Yeah.
Did you feel like naughty being back there with all the forbidden relics of holidays?
Dude, I wanted to. What was cool? They had lockers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them for like different religions and stuff like that. Like there was a whole locker for Native Americans and tribal stuff. There was another locker that said pagan Wiccan locker, and I was like,
hell yeah,
yeah. It was really cool. Just all kinds of different
shaman locker.
Yeah. Stuff
Get
like
my
that.
peyote.
So,
key locker.
yeah, so people could practice their religions. I was like, oh well, that's cool that they're really inclusive about that, and they have things, but they really they need more things. It could definitely be improved. But I know Legion's got questions.
That's a good segue, actually. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, there you go. Perfect segue.
Yeah. So I was gonna sprinkle them throughout the story, but I felt like
like I want to hear the
story. It works. It works either way.
So now it's just a Q&A.
We sprinkled in some stories or like questions in there.
So speaking of quality of life things that these incarcerated individuals can have, besides AC, of course, that's very important for them. What other like things could they get to improve like their quality of life?
I think one of the main things is that let's see, besides like central air and stuff like that,
good air conditioning besides that.
Air conditioning, yeah, and I will have to talk about that a little bit because that was insane. Because somebody had died while I was doing the program because of that.
Wow.
Yeah, basically the gym was hot, but their cells were hotter. They have small swamp coolers, and one of the ladies, it was around 4th of July. She was like 48 years old, and she had passed out, and they were like, hey, she has a heart condition. You need to help her. The COs took forever to respond to her, and then they shot her up with Narcan, even though she's on heart medication.
That sounds bad.
Yeah, so instead of treating it as what it was, a heat stroke, they treated it as a drug overdose. And she died.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Because Narcan's very specific in what it does. I feel like a heat stroke is not what it does. Like, that's not what it helps with.
Yeah, it was terrible. And then I asked one of the ladies, well, fuck, if it's that hot in the cell, how cold is it in the wintertime? And she said, it's freezing. She's all, you want to know how we stay warm? And I said, yeah. She said, we have to sleep with our hair dryers on. And then a lot of them lifted up their shirts, and they showed me all of the burn marks from them falling asleep on top of it.
That's hell. God damn.
It was terrifying. I was like, oh my God, like, they're literally like falling asleep with hair dryers on, trying to keep warm at night. So it's really bad. But besides central heating and air, basic health care. Like I met a girl in there, her hand was wrapped up, and I was like, whoa, what happened there? And she said that she was doing a job, and this bar fell on her. This bar was like 1,000 pounds. It like bounced off of her wrist and went back. She called for medical for like 2 hours. And they finally saw her once it started to like swell, and they sent her to the nurse, and the nurse didn't give her ice. They didn't give her a pain pill. They just wrapped it and sent her back. She's like, this shit is broken. Like it had been a couple of weeks, and they still hadn't sent her for an X-ray. She was just like writhing in pain all of the time. Like, yeah, things like that, basic health care, even the food. Obviously, we know prison food isn't going to be fantastic, but she said, what they have there is just sludge. She's like, a lot of the women just don't eat. They spend all of their commissary money on snacks, and so, they get fat from eating like candy and top ramen and junk food. She's like, so you're starving, but you're not, because you're eating garbage.
Minimal nutrients.
Right. They need access to more resources like library books, law books and things like that. And they need to bring back the mother and baby programs, because there are some prisons where if you go in and you're pregnant, and you give birth in prison, like say, you know, you're doing well, you can keep your baby with you for a year to 2 years or something like that.
Right.
So that way you can bond with your child. But they don't have that anymore.
And
You go to the hospital.
retain some
Yes.
sort of like parental, position on it.
They go to the hospital. They chain themselves to the hospital bed. They give birth like that. They can hold their baby for like a minute or so, and then a social worker comes to get that baby. Oh God, it's so hard to talk about. And you know, you're engorged because your body wants to breastfeed. You're in pain. Your body literally wants the baby, and they just send them back like that. They put you back in handcuffs. They give you a big diaper, and they say, get the fuck back to your cell like that. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty inhumane, like in a lot of ways, for sure.
It's cruel. It's so cruel. Like I get it, you know, but the baby shouldn't be punished. You know what I mean?
Right. Like there's a certain I don't know. Yeah, there's it seems like there should be a certain amount of like understanding between the two. Yeah. It would depend.
Compassion.
Compassion. Yeah, it would depend, I guess, on a few different things, but yeah, that doesn't seem to make sense unless I guess unless someone's, I guess there's a line, but that's
it hurts. It hurt to hear it.
It lacks compassion.
Girl,
I get you.
The girl next to me, she sews teddy bears for the moms that have to give their babies away when they come back to prison. She gives them a teddy bear. She'll like hand sew everything, and so whenever they get to visit or whatever, they can give that teddy bear to the baby. And I was just like, God, like,
oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, I started to cry. I was like, oh, that's so sad. She's like, why? I was like, because that's a sweet thing to do, damn it. Like, yeah, so I would say those are the top ones that I could think of that they need.
Right. Actually, this kind of leads into the other question. I know you gave
That's
a couple examples on why.
Thank you.
But why is it important, do you think, to hold prison systems accountable for their inmates and just the system in general?
Because prisoners should still have human rights. The prison is responsible for holding up those rights and making sure that they have, you know, when they make sure that they have their rights, it means that abuse can be prevented, that rehabilitation is promoted.
Rehabilitative justice, for sure.
Exactly. And that they have their basic needs met. You know, the prisoners, they shouldn't feel like they're lost to the system when they go in there. They need shampoo. They need soap and toothpaste and, you know, to feel clean. A lot of them told me that they don't even feel like women in there because the bras are shitty and they don't hold them up, and they can't put on makeup in the morning. Like a lot of us women, we don't put on makeup for you. We put it on for us to feel human, you know, and you know, the prison is responsible for making sure that they have the things that they need. You know what I mean? Like they're the ones that are with them every day to make sure that they are safe, that they are fed, that they are warm. You know, yes, they're criminals, but they're human, and they have basic human rights.
Yeah, it does seem. I'm still kind of stuck on, like you say, with the shelter part, like, or warmth, right? Like, yeah, I that's one of my things where, like, that would definitely be, like, hell to me if I couldn't, like, control, at least to some degree, how, like, warm or hot it is, like, in like like the room I'm sleeping in. I think that's, I mean, of course the other things are also super important. I think everything, like you say, the human rights and all that, I think that's super important, but definitely like on a primal level, I just feel like if I'm not the temperature, if I have to put a hair dryer on myself to keep myself warm, that would definitely be a breaking point for me. I feel like that seems inhumane.
Mm.
Yeah, I sleep with a heating blanket all winter. I can't imagine
Right.
having just a sheet.
A heating
you
blanket.
know?
Yeah, like what a
And
luxury, a
cement
heating
walls.
blanket. Yeah, like
Yeah.
is there I guess there's rules against heating blankets, but like I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of like what the rational rules against it is. I don't even know. Like I guess you could
You
use
get
the
one
wires to
blanket.
do some shit. What?
You get one blanket,
Why not though?
one to
Like
two
why
pillows
not a
maybe.
heated blanket?
Yeah.
Like what's the reasoning? Like I mean, like I say, like
They don't want
maybe
people plugging things in.
yeah, right. It's like, geez.
And
That's
not
so
everyone has one. It can be used for other things. They'll pull shit out of
I
it.
mean, you
use
could get
the
them on
wires.
Amazon
Yeah.
for like $20, but yeah,
Yep.
whatever. Yeah,
They say you're in prison. That's
right.
what happens.
That's your
when you go to
punishment.
prison. You don't get those things.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like yeah, but like to sleep comfortably, like I mean,
Right.
it's definitely one. Yeah, like you say, it should be rehabilitative, not what's what's the alternative? Malevolent justice. It should be yeah rehabilitative and yeah definitely a good advocate for like leftist politics for sure.
Right.
The rehabilitative. I like that as a good focusing point.
Yeah.
Right. So just I guess we're moving on to like the art kind of questions.
Okay.
So why do you think it's important to normalize the inclusion of incarcerated writers and artists into like mainstream venues like museums or just art events in general?
Because I think it humanizes them. It promotes inclusion, and it can get people talking about social justice and reform in those spaces. It also gives them an opportunity to like challenge themselves professionally, because a lot of them are curators of art. There's a whole program that I had sent to you. We'll link it, of where inmates send in their art, and they go to galleries, and when people buy them, the money goes to their commissary. I think it helps them to experience a therapeutic outlet, and it helps erase stigma that prison art is not as good as like typical art.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put that question in there because I was like, like I feel like a lot of like these artists, these women, like will just kind of go unseen, and I think it's like important to like put a lot of their work up front and like to be viewed by everybody, because like you said, like it gets people talking about like the system, the individuals that go there, and like just generally like more eyes on like how we treat our prisoners and our incarcerated.
Right.
Yeah, that's yeah. You ever think about like hundreds of years ago or even thousands of years ago, like the art of the prisoners back then? How valuable would that be? Or like the thoughts, or like yeah, like I just feel like that's such a it's an undiscoverable part of history. Like there's no way to really know the thoughts of the of people back then in like in such a way of the incarcerated, like you say, or just or anything that's like out of the norm, right? Like
Right.
someone who's not part of like polite society or whatever, and that's kind of
Right.
stuff is super valuable. I think if we did have like perfect records of like everything everybody did, like in ancient Greece or Rome or whatever, we'd really value the thoughts and feelings of like of prisoners or whatever, or like slaves, right?
Yeah.
Not that they're completely like the same, but it's just like the like you say, the non the underclass kind of thing in a like a in a kind of oppressed way. So yeah, no, it's definitely like important, and I think that is cool, the way that you're able to in the present moment kind of like kind of capture these kind of, I don't know, artistic qualities, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, as a psych major, what do you think the therapeutic qualities of creating art or any art is for people?
I think that art gives people a space to express themselves, like not only like to reflect quietly and practice a skill, but it helps people to sometimes grieve as well. There were a lot of women in there that said that, that was the only time that they had ever relaxed and taken a second to breathe. And even though it might be something that they're not really good at, like, they can still express themselves, and a lot of them, painted about things that they were having a hard time with, like there were people in there, they lose people on the outside and they can't be with them, they can't go to their funerals and things like that. So they said that it was helping them to grieve, to paint about it and paint a picture about it. Yeah.
And I know we kind of discussed this a little bit off podcast, but having been through this project, this program, do you see yourself doing any similar projects in the future? Maybe like the men's side, as you kind of like put it, or like some other projects that kind of deal with incarcerated individuals?
Absolutely. I am looking forward to when these people come back. They said, you're an honorary volunteer in this program. Like, when we come back, we'd like to do it annually. We're going to hit you up and let you know when we're doing it. I was like, I will clear my schedule. I don't care when it is. Like, I'll make it happen. There's other programs like the gardening thing that I heard about. And some of the girls were like, oh, they're talking about like raising horses and doing all this other stuff. And I was like, I don't know shit about horses, but I will learn along with you guys. And they were like, sign up for whatever you can and come in. And so anytime I would have pegged
Alyssa as a horse girl, but I guess
right?
That's just me.
Oh, I love them. I've ridden them, but raising them and all that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, like whatever.
More of a different ballgame. A cat mom.
Right. Like I said, whatever I can do to help or set up or be around for you guys, I would absolutely volunteer, paid or not. Honestly, I just, it's a really great experience.
I keep on Reddit. There's always like a thread that pops up sometimes about like a prisoner system where they give people cats to like foster cats to like raise. That would be like literally the perfect job for Alyssa. You gotta fund
that program, Alyssa.
Yeah, they were telling me about one of those programs that they had. I'll have to figure it out where it is. And there's a men's prison where they do the cat program too. So if I were closer to them, I would definitely be down there doing that. And I think a lot more people should be aware of that, and definitely there needs to be more programs where the inmates are being paid to do things like that.
Yeah. It could be interesting, like if you can get a hold of somebody at the prison and they think it's a good idea, and then you could just get in touch with a shelter, you know, and you could be at the bridge. Not to talk shop.
That would be so nice. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. We could definitely use fosters. We need a place for the kittens to go and cats to go, and anyone that'll work.
All go to Alyssa's house,
and like,
right?
that one mama bear will keep everybody in line with with treating the kittens nicely
with threats.
Yeah, with threats, with a shank.
Right. I'd be like, look, I'll teach you guys how to bottle feed, how to keep them warm, how to do this, that, and the other. How to tame them. Like if you can
and only the most well behaved. Yeah.
And how cool and how much more cats would be adopted if they said this cat was tamed and fed by an inmate.
Dude, honestly, there's so many cat ladies that would be like, that's a selling point to me.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, look at this cat. He was raised in prison.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude. That's actually a great idea.
Yeah, and then, people always brag, like, I found my cat in the dumpster. And it's like, haha, that's funny. And it's like, oh, I found my cat in prison. It's like, that's hilarious.
The cat is a convict.
Yeah. Love it for you.
Any lessons as a person do you think you've learned from this program?
Yeah. I learned that, any one of us could end up in a situation like that. Growing up, I was like, a street punk kid. A lot of my friends were getting into some scary shit. Obviously I didn't take part in too much, but if I had, I could have ended up there.
I mean, a lot of us could have taken a slightly different path. I get it.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of different things, like the girl said, to think twice about everything you do. There are things that people do a lot, every single day that could land them where these people are. And, the judges are harsh. Like they said, they're harsh on women, and any one of us could end up in a situation like that. And not all of the women in there are just violent monsters who are just so far from help. Like I got to meet a lot of them and hear their stories, and I know there's a good lot of them that can be helped, and when they get out, they're never going back. I know that. When I was there, if I had any biases before they were gone when I got there, being in this kind of a experience, this opportunity that I got to have, like, it really helped humanize the inmates. Like, of course I saw them as human, but to be with them as people and be like sitting just inches away from someone and being like, why did you kill that person? And them tell me, was just amazing to be able to do that.
That is a novel experience. Not many people get that. I don't know, get that personal with it, I guess I should say. Yeah, interesting.
Right. I'm going to be a great social worker because of these experiences. They taught me a lot, and taught me a lot about myself. Yeah.
Put this on the resume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to ask that question because, like, yeah, you're right. Actually, like, getting to know these people, you realize that they are just like the rest of us, right? I mean, they've made some bad choices, but at the end of the day, they're still human. And I feel like once they get out, they don't get treated the same way. I've heard a lot of stories about, like, people trying to get their lives together after leaving prison, and, like, no apartment wants them because you just can't be a felon, and so they really have no place to go afterwards.
Right.
No family and things like that. It's terrible that people get treated like less than after being locked up. If especially if you're someone who's generally, like, who got out and is generally trying to change their lives, like,
no,
I think it's important to see them like as humans.
Yeah, it absolutely. There needs to be more programs to help foster people into society, because recidivism is real, and it's not because people want to come back to prison. They have to make choices to survive, and that will lend them back. Like, if you don't know somebody out there that's in good standing, that has a place for you to go, a job for you to take, a car for you to drive, like, you will fuck up, and you don't want to. Everybody wants to be able to make it to their PO and, get their life going and things like that, but they tell me it is so fucking impossible, and it seems that it's set up to make you fail.
It really is, to be honest. I mean, it really is. I mean, not to go to detail, but no, that's kind of what I was about to say, is like, in an ideal world, like, it would be, you would serve your time and then you'd be even with everybody else, like, that's just how it should be, really, when you think about it.
Right.
But I mean, and you could say, like, oh, they should serve time, like, okay, you could say they could serve for life, that's okay, but once they serve, it should be done. But it's not like that. It's that you have a record, and that's not really fair, really. And I mean, you could argue it's fair, but you're not getting the same dice roll as if you hadn't served your time. Like, there's nothing that serving time doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
It's the afterwards that counts, and you often have the deck stacked against you.
Exactly. And I think there's opportunity for even social workers to create programs to integrate, former inmates into society. I mean, God, there's people that have been locked up since the 90s that are like, what the fuck is a cell phone? You know what I mean? How do I apply for a job? Like, there's a lot of places you can't apply in person anymore. They go online. They're like, how? you know? What do you mean? Like, how do I do this? How do I get around? Like,
it's not
what
fair.
do I do?
No, yeah.
It's not fair.
And it is. And that's only going to continue to get worse. Like, pretty soon someone's going to be locked up for a year, and they'll be like, what? What do I do?
What? How do I ride the hoverboard?
Twitter's called X now?
Yeah, Twitter.
Yeah.
Who did what? Who's running for president? What?
Exactly.
I guess this is just my personal interest, but
Of
do you
course.
do any arts and craft just by yourself, just for funsies?
Oh man, I used to. I used to write. I used to write poetry a lot.
Ooh.
Yeah, I used to. I have a whole album full of when I was a teenager, so that's all garbage. But it's all dumb and emotional. So
No, we gotta get you to like
Alyssa-
read it on the podcast one
oh
of these
god.
days.
There's a joke here.
We'll do it during the drunk podcast when we're like a few shots in.
Right. Alyssa
Right?
Alyssa writes it.
Oh god. That's so
Segment of the
ridiculous.
show. Which
Oh,
every
Tiffany
episode
Yvonne, I
has
love
another
you.
cringy poem from 2005 from Alyssa.
Ew, God, no. I'm just like jealous of a girl that likes a guy that doesn't know that I
Right.
like him. Like, I hate you so much. It's so stupid. But yeah, like I used to write a lot, and then I am a really big like adult coloring book person. I
Oh,
will
wow.
sit there forever. I've streamed it before of me coloring.
You should do more, huh?
Yeah, I like stuff like that. I like to make things with my hands too. Like one year I was really into like gathering like stuff from nature, just like debris,
Like leaves and
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like, that.
like forest floor stuff, and I made fairy houses.
Sure. Oh, sure. I know. I know
Yeah.
people who do that. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So stuff like that.
yeah, like I could see that. That's very satisfying. I feel like it would be if you just
Mhm.
you film it, you film yourself gathering stuff, or even and like you say, or even just I don't know any arts and craft stuff. I think you do a good job with that.
Thank you.
I would totally watch it because it would be like like ASMR, like
I never
like
thought about that. I
crafting
should have
stuff.
done it.
Yeah.
I made
that'd
it.
be
I
fun.
made some cool shit.
No, like legit. Like I feel like I've seen a few different like or at least videos of like people or like people just taking stuff and making something like that. And you also got the hand fetish people. They love it.
Oh, wow! Look at that.
Do you have like multiple cameras that you can like set up for like the art and yourself?
I think I do have 2 cameras.
Mm.
I do. Yeah, I've used them before when we did the tarot card stream. One on
Oh, I
us and
remember
one on our
that.
hands.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
Plus, I'm buying a new camera soon too, so I could probably use this one.
Damn.
Yep, you gotta have a cat cam too.
I know
Dog
everybody
cam,
says
cat cam.
that. Everybody says that. Hoggle would love that, dude. You know she would. Hell yeah.
Here I
Just for
am.
Hoggle specifically.
I'm telling you to stream, and then I never stream. So at least I own
And
it. We both don't ever
Dude,
stream.
I told Avacious, I'm so sorry. I love you. I know I said I was going to do Tomb Raider this week, but I have been busy with exams. I'm so sorry, everybody.
She's been busy watching the Olympics.
Yeah, right? Oh my god, did you see the
She's
guy
been
who
to
hit his
Paris.
bulge on the pole?
Yes.
I watched that so many times. Yeah.
You watch it. Wait, you've watched it so many times that we said. I just
Yeah,
keep watching it on a loop.
I did, because Mickey Avalon clipped it, and then he put his song My Dick on it. He's on My Dick is bigger than a bridge. Boing! Bounces off the pole.
Oh no, that's really
I'm a
good.
child.
That was.
I thought it was
no. It was a good
hilarious.
meme. It's a great meme.
Yeah.
I feel like I only watch the Olympics through memes.
Yeah,
I
basically.
don't think
Right?
I've watched a single event.
Dude, the men's one.
That's how I know about that guy from Turkey
Oh.
that everyone thinks is an assassin
Right.
secretly.
The
Yeah,
gun
the
guy,
shooter.
yeah. He's a cat guy.
Yeah, he's a cat, but cat dad. No, I
Yeah,
know.
he's a
I was
cat
gonna
dad.
say that because or I know someone said something about that, and I was gonna say Alyssa would love this.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it though? The
Yep.
men's 100 meter Noah. I forgot his last name all of a sudden, but he
Yeah.
that was crazy. He
Mhm.
won by like 1/1,000,000th of a second or some bullshit like that. Awesome.
Mhm.
It's probably old news by the time you're listening to this, everybody, but
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. I think it'll be like September by the time this podcast
Guys,
comes out.
remember the Olympics?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Maybe I'll
Remember
push
the
this
shooting
episode
guy?
further.
Remember that old meme?
That would be cool. I have a lot of people waiting for it.
Oh.
Oh, okay,
I
I'll
mean,
push it.
So
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
Don't wanna pressure Legion or anything, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you kind of did this by yourself by just asking for like advice from everyone you met, but anything you can like any glints of wisdom you can bring back to your kids about your experience?
Oh man, yeah, just to always, like she said, like to think twice about the decisions that you make, and it really is about the company that you keep, the environment that you in. Like my girls know right from wrong, but you're always gonna have a friend that wants to push the limit, and you want to be cool and do what they're doing, and you just it's okay to say no. I've been around a lot of people that, God, I could have gotten into a lot of trouble because of them. Like I didn't know they had things, and
Right.
those things could have sent us to jail for sure. But you just have to be, you have to think about the company that you keep. Have some good friends, make good decisions and things like that. It's not worth it. It's never worth it to get in trouble. Yeah.
Interesting.
Pretty much all my questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Do I have any questions? I guess I can't think of any right off the bat, but I'm trying to think. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know if you wanted to say anything to wrap up, Alyssa, or kind of give your final thoughts at all.
I will say the final day was, it was hard. It was hard to say goodbye to people, because, a lot of them thanked me. They said that they were grateful for me, that, I didn't have to be there. I volunteered, and that, the experience, had changed things for them. That it gave them a positive outlook. A lot of people discovered skills they didn't know they had. The girl across from me, she painted a self-portrait she had never painted before, and it was like spot on, beautiful. I can't wait to take a picture of it for you guys. And I had heard stories and I had read stories and stuff like that, and made friends with these women, but the women in the room that were filming the inmates individually, they heard a lot of stuff that I didn't hear. We had, close to 60 women in there at one point, with all kinds of different stories, and they got to hear them privately, one-on-one. And the day we were leaving, we wrap up, we put everything back, and we're walking out, say goodbye to everybody. And, we leave, we make it to the first stop. Everybody's just kind of quiet and reflecting a little bit. The videographers are like, "Oh yeah, that was really good. How'd you guys like it?" And I said, it was amazing. It was a great time. I heard some crazy stuff. We exchanged like, "Oh, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that?" "Yeah, she's been in here for 97 years. What did she do?" So we still don't know. Like, "Oh, how crazy." Yeah. And I was just like, "Yeah, I met a psychopath for the first time in my life, that like a true psychopath." And they were like, "Wow, that's crazy." They're like, "Yeah, we met a lot of them." I was all, "Really?" She said, "Yeah." And so we leave that stop, and we're walking towards the big gates. And all the videographers, they see a bench, they all stop, they all go sit down, and they all started bawling. I was like, whoa. And I had stopped, I'm thinking, it's the heat, because a couple of times throughout the program, there was a girl who would sit down. She has epilepsy, and it's brought on by heat. And I would sit with her, give her water, and then I would pick her back up and help her walk to her car. That had happened a couple times, and I was thinking, oh, this is happening to them. Let me go over and assist. And then I just see that they're just crying, and they have their heads in their hands. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna let them have their moment. And I walked out, and I was like, oh, they feel sad that they're leaving. And so we get through the gates, I turn in my badge and everything, and finally they come in, and I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I was like, I thought you guys were hot. I didn't mean to stand there awkwardly. I didn't know that you guys were crying. Like, you guys sad? And they were just like, yeah, and they were just like, yeah, they were like, it was awful. It was so awful. She was like, they're all murderers, all of them. And I was like, what? And she was just like, yeah. She was like, there were so many women that just, they told their stories nonchalantly, how they killed their kids, how they killed their boyfriend, how they killed their mother, and it was like no remorse. They were just telling us like it was nothing. And I was like, oh. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I thought you meant, like, oh, I feel bad I'm leaving this experience.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, oh, this is just haunting. And I asked one of the girls, I was like, is there any story is you think is going to stick with you? And she was just like, all of it. All of it. I was like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. I didn't know. And she was like, did you know that a lot of them were murderers? And I go, yeah. I was like, but I didn't hear every single story, you know. I just heard about the girls at my table, you know, and I was like, yeah, it was rough, and I was like, and I heard about the girl that killed her baby. She's all, which one? I heard about 5 of them that did that. I was like, oh, wow, dude, I'm sorry, you got to drive home with that.
Yeah,
it's
there's
stay
some
in your
baggage
head.
for you.
Yeah, she was young. She was younger than me. I was like, ah, shit. Well,
Oh no, she's not coming back.
I don't know.
Do you think this changed your opinion at all on like true crime kind of like things that you listen to, or if you do, I'm sure you listen to at least some, or like any stories you hear of, like, like, I don't know, anything true crime that relates to something that you heard. Did that change your opinion at all, or like not opinion, but like does it change your view of that kind of thing?
Um, yes and no, because like I have a bit more of an understanding of where the criminal comes from. You know, obviously the murder is never okay. It's never really justified. There are crimes where you're like, oh wow, it's a good thing they killed that person, but nobody should
Right.
ever decide whose life gets to end. There are people that you're like, oh, they need to be dead, but it's not for us to decide. When it comes to inmates, you know, somebody had said something that resonated. They were just like, they've already been judged. That's why they're here. We are not the ones to judge them. You know, along with doing this prison art program, I was taking a class, psychology of crime, and I had a project on psychopathy, and I had written and read a lot about it and where it comes from. And it's like, you know, we learn about like the glamorous traits of a psychopath, and that's what people are interested in, and that's why they like true crime and stuff like that.
Right.
But we may know what makes a psychopath, but we don't understand the psychopath, why, you know. And I think it just makes me more curious and more interested as to why these people do what they do, how they're formed. I'm noticing more consistencies with like trauma and abuse and even head injuries. Like it's just made me more curious. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. So you're kind of interested in maybe even some of the scientific parts of it, or
Yeah.
just the kind of the cause and effect. Definitely. No, that's what's fascinating to me, is like just understanding it more deeply. Like some of this
Yeah.
psychopathy or whatever that, whatever. It's so hard to pin down each person. Probably even some of the ones that are similar probably have really different like approaches to how you need to treat them. Like it's not easy to go through and be like, well, I know what that person needs. This, it's so much more
Yeah,
complicated.
it's so hard to nail down. You know, there's checklists. There's one. It's called Robert Hare's checklist, and I think it's got 22 items on it to check for like psychopathy and things like that. There's
Interesting.
violent risk assessments that people can do, and it can go across the board. There's primary psychopaths, secondary psychopaths. There's people who have psychopathy mixed with antisocial personality disorder, and it's so broad, and everybody is different. If anything, like I said, it's made me more curious, and it's made me want to learn more about it.
It's a good attitude. Some people
Yeah.
might shy away, but I feel like someone who's willing to kind of face it head on, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely valuable for that kind of thing. Especially when, yeah, someone. I'm probably. I don't know. I don't know if I'm somebody, but I know a lot of people that would shy away with something like that. So you're definitely needed in that.
I would.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I've told Alyssa like when I was like just playing Darkest Dungeon, I'm like this seems right for you. Like you are the type of person that can do this.
Yeah.
Like whatever it's like past experience or just the way you treat people.
Right.
Like you make friends way faster than me. I'm very guarded about a lot of who I am and what I share to people.
Tell me
But
about that.
you're just kind of open and out there with everybody, and I think people just kind of appreciate like being genuine, and then that's why I'm always like Alyssa is right where she belongs. She's like on her path. It's a good one.
For
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've definitely like. Oh, I think I told you. Did I say this on a podcast before? This might be stupid, but like one time I saw somebody on the subway just giving like medical treatment to like a homeless person, and it was like, yeah, that's basically like, yeah, that's definitely someone who's better than me, you know. And it's like, yeah, definitely Alyssa has properties of like, 'cause I think people, yeah, like it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but I think like I couldn't go into something like a woman's prison like that and have them trust me like that. So it definitely takes a very specific person and specific type of person. And I think you're definitely a good advocate for that kind of thing.
Oh, thank you. Much appreciated. It's a love-hate relationship I have with myself. How
it can be difficult.
How willing I am. Yeah, like it can be hard, you know, that, like you said, like helping people on the street like that. Like so many times I've had that like happen, and I've been like, oh my gosh, I got to do something, and then I have to remember, like I can't always get involved. Like I have to make sure that, you know, I'm not interfering with something, you know, like they say fools rush in. Like I don't want to be too quick sometimes, but
yeah, it's a difficult balance. There's definitely people I've known that they take that initiative, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely made me a better person to be. I'm just helpful. I think I could say, like, if there's anything that has come from childhood and all the things that I've learned is like I just want to be helpful. I want to be the person that I needed. Yeah.
I like that.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Very well said, for sure.
Thanks.
Cool. I think that's it then.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
that's right on time. That's great. I'm trying to think of.
Cool.
Before we wrap, I will link Empowermentative Avenue.
Yes.
That is the people that sell the prison art, and then I will also link the Life on Art website as well, and that's the program that Alyssa was part of, just so you guys can see. And then whenever the installation comes out, Alyssa gets some pictures. Make sure you're not in some of them, just
Right.
of the installation. Don't want to dox you on that one. I'll link it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna link it on this podcast or just the podcast that comes out, but I'll link that as well.
I'm sure you could always edit the description and all that, and plus post updates too at some point, maybe on some pages we have.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Cool.
Are we ready to outro it? Any other things we need to mention?
I think that's it.
Cool. All right.
I've asked all my questions.
Perfect.
There's about like 20 more, but I was like, I don't want to overwhelm Alyssa.
We're
Just grill her on
I
everything.
took notes.
we have a tight 155 or whatever the hell it's gonna be. All right, perfect. All right, thank you everybody so much for listening to our podcast. The podcast is Forget We Said That. My name is Relytan.
I'm Alyssa Riot.
And I'm Legion Lion, at Legion Lion on Twitch. Every days except like Wednesdays and Sundays. Late nights, so just come see me. I'm always in the gremlin hours of the night.
Hell
Hell
yeah. Night squad. All right, everybody. Thanks again.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening.